IVM.
If you're broke, if you need money, if you don't have a wallet, you don't have a financial portfolio, don't bother, there's no hope for you. Or is there? His name is Anupam Gupta, paisa vaisa, but don't ask him for money. I asked, he gave me nothing. New episodes out on the IVM podcast website, app, or wherever you get your podcast from. Kripaya dhyan dijiye, the language used on the podcast may not be fit for consumption. We warn you, tread carefully. But listen yaar, don't be so conservative. All right, it's Cyrus Says time once again from our separate homes. We've got a wonderful guest who I'll introduce in a minute. But first, a quick rant on... I got to admit that the truth of the whole matter is I thought of myself as an egalitarian Democrat and I've tried to be a liberal all my life. But I've come to the conclusion I'm not. I'm not because I just hate too many things. I mean, I hate umbrellas, I hate masks, I hate people who hate pigeons, I hate walkers, cyclists. I hate old people who take so long to answer questions. So, I can't be a Democrat. I've decided to form my own philosophy, which is half fascist and half Democrat. So I'm going to call myself a democist. And I advise anyone to join who thinks on the same line. So we've got lots of fascist issues, but we have a lot of democratic moments as well. Democist. It's called Cyrus Says.
Entertainment is like food for the brain. It's a window to culture and a great way to understand the world around us. The internet has changed what it means to be an entertainer, creating new storytellers with millions of fans. It has spawned a new breed, the story sellers, those behind the scenes creating the business for this ecosystem. They work with brands, platforms and channels who are keen to capitalize on an audience hungrier than ever for more stories. I'm Vineet Kanabar, and I have a ringside view to how stories are told and sold. On my show, I bring you creators, artists, executives, and marketers for a freewheeling conversation around the business of entertainment. Tune in to Storytellers and Story Sellers for personal stories, analysis, and criticism every Thursdays as I talk to the brightest minds telling or selling great stories today.
Today's guest is none other than, already my English has failed me, none other than the one and only, well, he's just had a sort of rebirth in Ayodhya, so to speak. Ram Madhvani.
Hello.
Hi,
hello.
What's
Hi,
up?
Cyrus. How are you? You do realize that at some point in the show, I'm going to get you to do your Elvis Presley impersonation.
I don't think the kind of listenership we have, we'll scare away that little minute group as well. It's best I could dress up as Bappi Da and do something there. That might work at my age now. Yeah. But Ram, let's start at the beginning. Of course, are you the greatest name, the Geo 18 advertising filmmaking history? Our research says that maybe so. We won't put you on the spot to make you actually answer that question. But that's one side to you. There's feature films. There's all that you've done.
Amazing, Cyrus, how I've achieved that just in the last 5-8 years, right? It's such a short career. And at such a young age.
There you
Thank
go.
you so much.
You're the Tendulkar. You're the Tendulkar of filmmaking. From 16 to 19, you capture the world.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
I'll start at the beginning. I'll first start, and people don't know that we have a small relationship. No, that sounds really cheeky.
Full disclosure.
Full disclosure. Let me test you. Do you remember the ad I did for you?
Yes.
Well, what is the brand? Come on, let's see if you remember.
This will also tell us our age. So
because the brand isn't there.
The brand is not there because
the ad survived, not the brand. Yeah.
To give everybody a hint, at one time that brand used to give you little small animal toys in the toothpaste itself. So it is now. I'm giving you a bit of a hint. It was Binaka, the toothpaste.
Binaka. I thought the first ad we did was Street Cat, the cycle.
Street Cat the cycle, yes. So sorry. I remember Binaka. I didn't remember Street Cat. Wow,
the first one was Street Cat because I remember falling off the cycle and things like that. So it's very strong in my mind.
And we discovered something called scatting at that time. Scatting.
That's right. And you didn't think it through. You cast someone who could hardly cycle, which was 80% of your bloody ad.
No, that's because like all actors, when we say, do you cycle? Yes, of course I can cycle. Can you ride a motorcycle? Of course I can. Can you drive a car? Of course I can. When you get to the shoot, you discover that, Cyrus, you couldn't.
And I was so desperate for work at that time. I think I went for the Whisper commercial auditions as well. I nearly got it. I reached the top 4. as far as I remember. But okay, Ram, enough of me. Let's talk about you now. So this whole show is basically where we take very interesting people and see their lives and open the doors to their sort of inspiration and their walks for other people to follow.
Is that interesting person me?
You, of course. And today you're very trending because your name is Ram. So you're very safe, bro. You can do what you want for the next few years. But let's get back to the beginning. So you're a South Bombay boy, if I remember correctly. You're a Girgaon, Chowpatty sort of boy, and probably not meant to go into this business at all, right?
Well, actually, I was from St. Peter's, Panchgani.
Isn't that where Freddie Mercury is from?
Yes. He was somebody obviously who was not part of my generation.
But he was famous by the time you guys were there.
He was famous by the time we were at school, obviously. And so I was from St. Peter's,
Panchgani. Did you aspire to be a queen? I'm so sorry. I apologize.
You do realize, Cyrus, that I'm not going to compete with you on any of this, right? I'm just going to laugh.
The infantilism is my third thing. There's democracy, there's fascism, and infantilism. All three working together. Look, let me not interrupt your flow. So you were in St. Peter's.
I was in St. Peter's, Panchgani, and I also was in a small town called Barshi, which was where my family had a textile mill and some farms. And then I came to Bombay when I was only, sort of after school. But in Barshi, just as an aside, we did have 4 theatres actually, which were named after the 4 Mangeshkar sisters.
Wow.
So there was
the theatres got along.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Asha, Lata,
Usha
and Chitra.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
I've always. Sorry,
and we used to be allowed into any of those theatres because my father and my family knew the theatre owners. So, of course, I got lots of free popcorn and Mangola at that time. Again, a thing that dates us. But Mangola was a drink here.
I don't know if you did a Mangola ad, but that was my favorite all-time beverage in the soft drink market.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was so sad that, that when it finally, we never got that taste back.
We never. It's amazing with all the advance in technology. It's a bit like the landings on the moon, which I find now, why aren't we going there every weekend? If in 69 you reached it, shouldn't we be going there every Saturday and be like, okay, mom, off to the moon, see you on Monday? That doesn't happen.
But what surprises me more is that obviously the Wi-Fi in 1965 was better because, or in 1969, and even when Rakesh Sharma went up there, we could hear him. I mean, right now we can't even hear each other from Prabhadevi to wherever you are, I don't know
are you
the Wi-Fi to the moon.
Are you pointing fingers at the Mangalayam sort of launch that didn't happen?
No.
That poor gentleman who was distraught and crying, and I don't mean the Prime Minister.
I'm not doing any of that. I'm just amazed at how communication and life was there in 1969. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing. Yeah, so we're very proud of what we have done on the Mangalayam.
Don't worry, no one listens to our podcast. You can be as controversial as you want. They'll never find out. Yeah.
When I came to Bombay, I got into college, and partly I was in Sydenham College, and in fact, so I did plays, and this is why are we discussing all this?
What's interesting is the 4 Mangeshkar sisters play such an important role in your life, which I think, without knowing, in your subconscious, you watched a lot of films and filmmaking. Sort of, I'm asking. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
Not really, it was not. I'll tell you. First of all, this is obviously something which when we were in school. Every Saturday, every Friday evening, because it was a boarding school, there used to be this big Peti steel trunk which had lots of film rolls.
Oh, I thought Black Money. I was so excited.
It was better than Black Money.
It was the 80s after all. Yeah.
No, Cyrus, it was the 70s.
Oops.
Exactly.
Should I say Ramji then? No. So there was film rolls.
So there was film rolls, and we used to be in our assembly hall, sort of on Saturday nights, they used to put up a 60mm theatre. And then obviously there used to be Man from UNCLE, and there used to be Laurel and Hardy, and, all of these movies which we sort of saw. And obviously because of the 16mm projector, the film used to burn. And it would go, and also what would happen is that the people on the screen, we couldn't even understand them. So if it was an American drawl, because the sound was so bad, it would be so this is the reason to this date I watch English movies with subtitles. So I'm always putting on the subtitles. I can't understand what they're saying, but it's a remnant from school. But when the film burnt, there used to be the smell of burning film. I don't know whether you remember that, but it certainly was something that intoxicated me. That's what I smell nowadays. That's what, that's my drug.
If somebody segues into the program at this point and listens to that bit, they'll think we're two narcotics experts, discussing the effects of drugs.
Yeah.
Film burning background. Have you smelled that? And
have you smelled that drug called cinema?
Oof, excellent. I can't say I have. I do remember the projectors. I had one pal, Rajiv Khanna, who had a small projector, and it was a big deal to go to his house. But I can't remember the smell of anything except his mother's French fries, which were really tasty.
And those actually, I'm sure, were made with ketchup and chilies. So with chili powder.
There was chili powder, but they was fantastic. Now I'm segueing in the wrong direction. I've lost interest in cinema, and I'm thinking of those French fries.
The biodata of the French fry would be more interesting than my life.
Really?
So we might as well discuss that.
Let's go there.
And how it is that I remember the French fries from my friend Hitesh's house, and his bhabis, and therefore our bhabi used to therefore his brother's wife used to be, anytime we went there were these French fries which used to be, and now ask for the recipe, and I can never repeat it.
Ram, again segueing, it was also an innocent time because the families and friends and neighbors would khilao you without thinking about what they're khilaoing you. It was just, pure love and food. Now, the damn kid is going to check and say, "Nee, isme glutamine zyada hai."
They're khilaoing you protein shake.
Protein shake, and then kill the desire of. I would think as a kid is the one time you should eat the damn French fries. It's the one time you should. Just eat, drink.
Yeah. Excuse me, are these French fries fried or baked? Are they French baked?
Yeah.
Can you imagine they changed the name, Cyrus? They changed it from French fries to French baked.
But if it was French baked, in the first place, no one would have eaten the French fry. If it worked, it didn't work. Otherwise, we would have all eaten French bake. It's like margarine and butter. Don't start me off on that rubbish. Margarine, something you should build houses with or something. You just put it there instead of glue. And just let it cement things. Like, what a yucky thing. Might as well eat the cement.
So you realize I have successfully moved away from my life.
Yeah, I know, but that's fine. We have a few guests like you. Let's face it, you are an overachiever, but you're not happy talking about it. So I'm a psychologist.
Not at all. I'm just a struggler trying to bang my.
In the words of Arnab Goswami, how dare you belittle yourself? That's reverse modesty. I don't like that. Your achievement, they've given me a list of 10,000 awards and 8 million films. Just to, if you do 5% of those, I'll have 6 hours of podcast just now. So luckily, we don't have to do everything. Don't worry. No, we will fast forward a little bit. You then came to Mumbai, but your interest in the arts, being from a textile business, Gujarati business background, you couldn't have seriously thought you'd actually do anything in the arts, but at that point, did you?
I don't know, I'm genuinely going back to segueing back to whatever that means. Do you segue back or do you segue front?
Look, we take the American words and do what we want with them. Including the 4-letter word which starts with F. Okay, what it means here and what it means there, two different things. Oh, sorry.
So segueing to, it was actually, if you asked anybody in school, what did you want to become, I would raise my hand and say, I want to become a filmmaker. There was something wrong with me at age 9 and 10. I knew I wanted to be a director and a filmmaker. It just took me a long while because obviously, I had to go through college and in college I did do a lot of theater. Why did this come into me? I'm telling you, it's going back to that smell of burning film. It can't be anything else. I just was intoxicated, but by cinema. Cyrus, to make it sound a little more serious than flippant, I did when I used to go to movies, whether it was in Barshi, in one of those theaters, watching Jugnu or Yadu Ki Barat or whatever it was that we all, used to see, and therefore in school also. It was a place where you remembered yourself and at the same time you forgot yourself. It was a cocoon. It was like a womb. And with that popcorn in Mangola, I think that's better than amniotic fluid.
You should become a caretaker then. I'm sorry, a canteen operator or something,
I could have become a projectionist and met Malina or whatever, right? Whatever that was. That her name in that movie, the great, that movie which had the projectionist in Italy.
Correct, but don't ask me names and details. My wife makes me watch all these pretentious films and I have to nod. So I don't know anything else about it.
Then if they're pretentious films, I only grew up on pretentious films because in the evening, every time when I was in Sydenham College and all they said, I used to be at Alliance Française and I used to be at, sort of British Council. We grew up on all those movies, and we used to really, really look like that was our Like, my gosh.
I'm not putting the so-called pretentious film down. I'm saying my wife has scarred me because she's got this foreign film fetish kind of thing all the time. And sometimes I'm watching a film about and listen, I'm not anti-homosexual or anything. It's a story about two gay men. What is it? Colin Firth was one of the actors. Though he's lost his lover, and for a while he's moaning and moping. And there's nothing happens. It's such a beautiful film. I said, it's not a beautiful film. It's just a guy.
Written by James Ivory.
Maybe. Look, but I'm just saying.
Yeah. No, 1 minute. No, not James Ivory. James Merchant of Ivory Merchant.
Merchant Ivory fame.
Merchant Ivory films.
But sometimes, I understand there are different ways to make different films and all, but sometimes I like my Bruce Lee. I want to see people dying, lots of blood.
I remember when I went to see Enter the Dragon, which was at Regal Cinema, I think it was. And I actually, Cyrus, I painted a mustache on my face. Okay, because it was an adult movie. I had seen one adult movie before that, which was Mackenna's Gold, which I had seen 8 times, right?
Let's pause and tell the generation that's listening that for us, Mackenna's Gold and Enter the Dragon were adult films. But not how the world has changed. Yeah, sorry.
Exactly. And I remember putting a mustache on my face, and then I went just as the lights went off. I was outside, sort of covering my face. And of course, as soon as I enter the theater, the usher puts his torch on my face and says, "Get out." And I couldn't see it.
How old were you actually?
I was at that time, I think, I must have been 17 in first year college or second year.
So it was a close call. It was a close call. You could have got
it. It was a close call, yeah. And I don't know how he realized that if I hadn't put that mustache, painted that mustache,
exactly,
maybe I would have been okay.
India's #1 ad filmmaker thought he could get away with a pencil-drawn mustache. Cut to all the different costumes and stuff that you've shot with and designed, perhaps, or sort of created yourself. Oh
no! Please, India's #1 ad filmmaker. Please, you let that slip. I'm going to just duck that. Okay, please don't do that to me.
Why? I'll explain why I say that. You can say no, I don't accept this ungraciously or whatever. But I'll tell you why I say that. Because I have a little bit of a background in this business, and I know the names that have come before and after. And you have survived them all. And that is, you're the only one. I went through the whole list. And we go to Prahlad Kakkar, and before that, and you go all the way to
Oh, by the way, I asked Prahlad for a job once.
Really?
And he said, join Equinox. He told me to join Equinox. Of course, before that, I went to try and meet him 6 times. And every time, the only person I met was Prahlad's dog in his office.
The Doberman.
The Doberman. I was scared of the Doberman. The Doberman used to come and sniff me every time. Yeah. And then once Prahlad walked in, I said, "Oh gosh, this is Prahlad Kakkar." And then he said, "Where are you going?" I said, "Wherever you're going, sir." So he took me in a taxi and he dropped me at Dadar, somewhere where he was going. And he said, "Don't join
like a pedophile story." Yeah, exactly. The Doberman captures young kid, puts him in taxi, takes him to Dadar. Oh.
No, but I call him Yoda. Yeah. Prahlad is Yoda because. And he genuinely said, "Don't join me because if you were to join me, you would sort of just be an assistant."
And he said, "Distracted by all the girls."
Sorry.
And be distracted by all the girls. My memory of this, he always had lots of pretty young girls around.
Yeah, it was the, and I also asked Kailash at that time for a job far.
Exactly.
I did the whole thing. I asked Johnny Pinto for a job, so I asked everybody for a job. So of course, Kailash did give me a week with him. And then, this is something which I've told Kailash about, so this is not a secret, which is, then I think he said, "I don't need you anymore." And his office used to be in Walkeshwar. I remember walking down Walkeshwar crying that, "Oh gosh, I don't have a job now as one, person who was sweeping floors in any case, as an assistant, as a production assistant, as a trainee, is what they call them now."
You went back home and you vowed revenge and took away all their clients and work. And within 5 years, they were calling you floor space. No.
So then I went and asked Shumanthu and Dilip Ghosh at that time was because my brother, who actually was the person, my middle brother, who was a photographer. So there was artistic inclination within quotes in the family.
He was already established?
No, we were all struggling, you see, at that time. In any case, he was working in a newspaper. At a certain point, he did work in Blitz. Plus, obviously, one of the things that really we all grew up with was music, right? So everything from Woodstock, again, just so that everybody knows our age, to of course, Cyrus, "I Will Not Let You Go" without doing the Elvis Presley impersonation. I will not let this session go without that.
My God. All I do is praise the guy and he takes it out on me. Unbelievable. No, so I just last word on the subject. So you survived all of them, and not just survived. You've continued to be very much omnipresent in every generation post that. And these are big names when we were growing up. All of the, as you mentioned, you couldn't even get a job with them. Then the next era of filmmakers that followed up to Red Ice, and I hope I get the names right, Shritish Sarkar, all these guys. You withstood the barrage of all the newcomers and the new talent and the new technology. And so obviously there's got to be something about you, Ram. It's not just creative. Well, everybody knows you're a creative person, but you have the ability to sort of reinvent and move forward. And hence you're on the greatest podcast since Joe Rogan.
But
to make the same.
I don't get all this reinvent kind of stuff. I just don't want to be a has-been. That's it. So I'm just scared of people calling me a has-been. So the only thing that drives me, therefore, I presume, is fear. That is basically that at some point they'll say, yeah, he was a guy who used to make those ads. And it's going to happen. I predict that, every 2 years I say, now they're not going to give me work. I'm going to get forgotten. And I think that's what's driving me more than anything else.
So you're driven by the same quality that drives Kim Jong-un. He's just killed everyone with COVID in the country. Whoever he's found, shoot them. So destroy the disease in one stroke. Ram, let's now fast forward a little bit to the fact that your first job was with Shumantro, is it? I vaguely remember.
Yeah, well, Dilip Ghosh and Shumantro. So Dilip and Shumantro, they
all Bengalis aren't the same, Ram. These are different people, right?
No, but by the way, I am Bengali by soul, right? So I'm Gujarati by body, but I'm Bengali by soul.
Yeah. What are you by numbers? Please be Gujarati.
No, by numbers, I'm not Gujarati at all. Oh. By numbers, I'm just a struggling, sort of...
You're the fifth Mangeshkar. Huge influence. Yeah.
Oh. So, I asked Dilip, and I remember Shumantro walking into the room. Of course, he was extremely hectic. He walked in, he walked out.
He was already a well-known filmmaker.
Yes. In fact, my first job, he was doing a commercial for... he was doing Charlie Chaplin shoot, Cherry Blossom shoot.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember. And so Sean that's there in the head, huh?
Yeah, exactly. And then he said, go to Chor Bazaar and buy me those shoes, those Charlie Chaplin kind of shoes.
Yeah.
So that was really one of my first jobs, which was I went to Chor Bazaar and I had to cut the shoe. And the hand that you see coming out of the shoe in Cherry Blossom ad, that hand is my hand.
Your debut.
That is my debut, and that is my moment, okay?
Is it fair to say you started with a hand job? All this body of work. And
I knew that was coming my way.
Unnecessary, no? Ram, really unnecessary. Unbelievable. I wish I could give myself...
I think I'm asking for these. I'm digging myself into these comments.
No, I think we need to hand out yellow cards and red cards on podcasts also, because just for stupidity. Stupidity, I got nothing against.
No, listen, Cyrus, stupidity is a great thing. I want to make a good, stupid film. I love good, stupid.
You've come to the right people.
Yeah.
Look no further.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and Cyrus, I think just to... I now have to spend 2 minutes sort of giving back some of the praise.
Oh my God, he'll edit it all.
1 minute. Is this meant to be a podcast? Is a conversation. It's not an interview, right?
We're chatting. Yeah.
Exactly. So I just want to tell everybody about the fact that when we were all growing up, you were the person who was actually giving us a whole, we didn't even know what stand-up comic was at that time, right? We didn't know any of this. You just invented a genre by yourself. We didn't even know any of this. Suddenly he said, hey, who's this guy who comes in? And then, Cyrus, for you to don a personality, make a personality public, not be shy of the personality, and to be absolutely okay being in some ways a brat, okay? Part of the brat pack. I thought that was incredible. And obviously I'm not like that. I'm sort of introverted and shy in the corner and laughing obviously at and with whatever you're saying and sort of standing there, and in so many houses that we were sort of part of at that time, and parties that we were part of, and I said, who's this guy? He's so funny. And then we actually were watching you as you in a way became
the chicken came out of the egg.
And in a way the sort of inner workings of your mind I don't mean to make any comparisons here, but when I look at Jim Carrey, when I look at Robin Williams, and I look at what is happening inside their head and then you allow what is happening inside your head to come out. And I think that is a fascinating thing, because a lot of the time, I don't allow what is happening inside my head to come out, thank God.
So I'm better suited for politics. Donald Trump does exactly the same thing and successfully ran a country. But I will take all these compliments. Robin Williams committed suicide thanks to depression and alcohol and drug abuse. And Jim Carrey has 4 failed marriages, so that's good to know.
But you must read his new book, which is an imagination of his life. It's quite incredible. Have you seen his paintings?
Yeah, apparently I saw something on a talk show, and I thought it was like a joke because they were pretty evolved paintings. And he did one on the spot for Jimmy Kimmel, one of these guys, and he did it on the spot. So I was wondering if it was like a put on.
And this time, when last year when we were in London, which is like, obviously I can't say last year, doesn't even feel like last year. Yeah. But
everything is last year, Ram. Everything is last year.
Exactly. So we had, one of the things that I do in London, therefore, because I'm from a boarding school, is I go for high tea, right? And I look out for high teas, because high teas in London are a big thing. So we booked ourselves into one fancy high tea, and then we were walking towards it, and suddenly I saw Bob Dylan's work, and there's paintings and sculptures and all kinds of, and I walked into the art gallery. And there was and he's incredible when you look at the art that Bob Dylan is coming out with, which again we didn't know about. Obviously, we grew up with Bob Dylan again, and we discovered, from Woodstock to Bob Dylan to, though he didn't play at Woodstock, but still.
My God! So is Bob Dylan your favorite of the lot?
Thanks to my brother, actually, I did grow up on a lot of this kind of music, and at that time, certainly he was. We had the time to listen to music. I don't think that we have the time to listen. We used to put LPs and actually spend an hour listening to music,
Ram,
right?
You grew up when the generation was blowing in the wind. So I guess, No, stop. Okay, Ram, let's jump into the career now. Come on, please, give me something. So we've got lots of research. You've just done too much. But this Happydent, my researcher and fellow comedian Silvery, who's there somewhere in the background, is very excited about the Happydent ads. But I think
Cyrus, it's all downhill after that. What can I say?
No, fair enough. You're telling me I'm the downhill king. But just going back to, so you're polishing shoes and doing all the odd jobs. People who don't know advertising don't know how probably the worst job in the business is that sort of gopher, production assistant, dog's body that you work for some time, right? But after doing that, how did you get the break where you actually made a film? How did all that happen? Because you're right at the bottom.
No, so I did want to join the Film Institute. And so in Pune, and so I gave my exam, and I had also done a course at NYU because my eldest brother is in diamonds in New York, and therefore they wanted me to join the diamond business, and so I did do diamonds for a couple of years, and I was in NYU doing School of Continuing Education, which was when I was in college, and I had to leave college because I had to earn a living, but I'm not getting into any of that kind of stuff. I'm now answering your story. I'm getting back to I'm not being like a jazz musician. I will get to
you just scattered for 15 minutes.
Exactly, before I get to my point.
Yeah.
But this is conversation, so I'm allowed to do that. Right?
Please do.
Why should I be on point, Cyrus?
No, of course not.
Exactly. My name is Ram. Therefore I can give you the Ramayana.
It's an abridged version, I hope, because we only have half an hour more. So you were in NYU, you were also doing a course.
So I wanted to get into, thank you for reminding me, Cyrus. That's very sweet of you. So I was, when I was born, and I was going to start there actually, but okay.
I just actually want to know about the first film, because I think that without that, you can't go anywhere. So that's
gosh, you're bringing me to a point, Cyrus, is unlike you. You're really taking your job seriously. I'm most disappointed.
All right then, back to blowing in the wind. Off you go. Give me G, please. Yeah.
So I wanted to join the Film Institute. You do realize that I am coming back to point myself. And Shwanthro, actually, I was meant to go for the interview, let's say tomorrow, and he took me to a fancy restaurant, which was Shwanthro Ghoshal, was running Equinox at that time, and my guru and my mentor, and somebody that I was, sort of training under. And then I went. There was a restaurant called Cafe Royale at the
Oberoi,
fancy
where Bill Clinton and I dined together.
No, but that's the one at Regal. This is before that. Okay,
the one in Oberoi.
Yeah.
But that's too fancy. I would never go there. Only rich people would go there.
Well, that's where Shwanthro took me, and he said basically, why are you going for the interview tomorrow? And I was meant to go for the interview. And he said, don't go for the interview. I mean, you've seen enough movies and, you can always see them on VHS, on VHS cassettes. So,
don't have to say it twice again, aging us. People will now be Googling VHS. What
VHS?
Is it a right-wing party in India? What is VHS?
Yeah, exactly. So he said, you need to basically learn, apart from movies, you need to learn from life, etc. But basically, he said, become my partner. And so that was huge. And I had to, of course, I didn't say yes immediately because I'm not that kind of guy. I said,
it's like a marriage proposal. You have to go back and think about it.
It was huge. And that changed, in some ways, that changed my life because I met Amita, my wife, in Equinox. After that, she was a trainee. It was an intern relationship. Those things that are not allowed nowadays. Okay. So, and everything that I learned, actually, I learned from advertising, the work ethic, everything. So Shwanthro basically said, become a partner. And then I did my first commercial where Amita was in fact a trainee now, and it was called Baygon Spray. And the reason I got Baygon Spray is because Baygon Spray, it said no entry for pests.
Yeah, okay? I remember. I'm just trying to remember the ad.
Yeah, so
now I'm feeling nostalgic. I feel like I'm drinking and all these memories are coming back.
Yeah.
Except instead of young, hot girls, there's silly ads. Yeah.
Yeah, so I had a friend, Rayoman Noble. Okay.
Of course.
Noble so Rayo was films executive in Trikaya, which is grey right now. And the lady who, Anita, who ran the films, was the film's head, I think had gone on holiday. So while she was on holiday, Rayo said, I'm giving this to Ram. And they gave me, the cost of production was 7 lakhs. Okay, the whole film's budget was 7 lakhs. I still have a photocopy of the check. We had got it. And so it's in a file somewhere because I said, my gosh, this is the first time I've actually got this much. And it was not my fee, obviously, but...
So is the plan, if work dries up, you can make copies and keep cashing that same check? I mean...
Exactly. Yeah. With Rayo's signature on it.
The Parsi, they have money.
Yeah, exactly.
Money that we don't know about, yeah.
So that's how I got... So it was Shwanthro all the way, actually, who backed me and made sure that I, and therefore there was a Guru Shishya and a true mentorship that he did. And then, obviously, after some years, just to go flash forward, many years later, I now own Equinox with Amita, and Shwanthro is, in a way, he's there. He comes to office every day. And we have now, he's now chairman emeritus, whatever that means.
So he's like beyond pension. He's not like God in the sky somewhere, sailing around, looking down.
Every time that I have a moral compass kind of question, I go to him. So
moral compass, Ram?
Moral compass.
What hell does that mean?
Meaning when you're questioning your value systems and you're questioning whether you should do something or not do something, I go and ask him for advice. So he keeps me sort of aligned.
I really don't want to unravel the orgies and all in the background. I want to just take a quick break. Then we'll come back.
But just to let you know, they're verbal, right? These orgies are verbal.
Well, with me, they're just fantasy. There's no question.
Okay.
I also live with a cinematic mind where it goes nowhere. We'll take a quick break. Ram will come back. We have to now look at all the different things you've done in as short as possible because I think you're far too modest and you're getting...
I am tired, Cyrus, already talking about myself.
Okay, let's talk about Lakshman. Stay where you are. We'll take a break.
Advertising is dead. Yep, you heard me right. Advertising is dead. We're all in the content business now. Let's not call it news, TV, radio, etc., etc. It's all content, and we're in the middle of this weirdly exciting phase where all the borders and lines that have been drawn over decades has been swept away by this lovely thing called the internet. We're a show where we don't dwell on just the stuff that is now, but rather the wider stuff about advertising, media, content, and the whole goddamn circus surrounding it. Tune in every Tuesday for our weekly unboxing of the mystery box we used to call advertising. I'm Varun Dugirala, co-founder and content chief at The Glitch, and this is my new podcast, Advertising is Dead.
We're back with Ram. He thought it was a long break, but it's just a second or two while I shift uncomfortably in my chair. Ram is doing something. He's drinking something. It's a clear liquid. Yeah.
And it's from a glass bottle. It's not plastic.
I have so many memories in the early 90s, it was, the early mid-90s, of drinking, actually, because your other colleague, Poo, and Shwanthro and all these guys used to have these fabulous parties. And so I have...
And they still do, Cyrus. Why are you not invited anymore?
I think they have other caterers and staff now, so they don't...
Okay. You're too big now, Cyrus. You don't come for
I wish nobody calls me. Oh, I don't drink now, Ram. I've given up for 4 years.
Wow.
4 years no
That's
alcohol.
huge.
Yeah.
That's huge. That's great.
Yeah.
I've now, I haven't had a drink for the last 10 days now.
So I'm still ahead. Is the point?
Exactly.
Yeah. No, but look, I may go back at some point, but it's a long story. When you interview me, we'll discuss that. But
Right.
let's get back to the fact that Happydent is something we have to talk about. But what do you think is the commercial that made you really, go to another level? But again, unfair question. But I know the Adidas commercial was something fantastic. I think Tendulkar, because you ushered in different things. Now, technically speaking, you did different things with that commercial. I think you did a 360 degree or something. I have vague memories of Ram did this and people talking about you in the background. Ram set standards. He did this. He did that. But BJP will love you, because imagine every conversation is it's Ram. He did it. He did everything. So in your own eyes, do you have any benchmarks?
Well, yes. What happened was that I had done Tata Steel Ispat Pe Hum Banate Hai. I had done ThumsUp bungee jumping. And I realized that actually I was...
That was slightly controversial, right? That bungee jumping?
Controversial at that time, yes. But I mean, the idea... I mean, we just got an AJ Hackett from Australia to do the commercial for us. So it was done with full 100% safety.
Correct. But there are idiots in India.
Yeah. I know, in the sense it was sad. And the thing is that when I realized that I actually was still not seen as A-list. And so my friend has a little farm in Kodaikanal at that time. And so I went there and I sat down for 7 days and I stupidly wrote down a whole list of my what my competition does and what am I known for. And then I said, okay, you know what I'm going to be? And I'm sorry, I'm sounding really, really, how should I say?
No, we need this internalizing process where you come clean. You're nude in front of us now. Tell us, what were the things?
So I said, I am going to no longer be a humanist. I will be a visualist. I will be a poetist. Okay, I will not make ads that are human, because I realized everybody was making human ads. And so I said, I'll only make visual ads. So that's the reason why I started. That's why I went to Adidas, and that's why Happydent. And then after that, I said, okay, now I have been there, done that. I know how to deal with the technical world and do all of that and be experimental. And then I decided I would be a humanist. And then I did Harr Friend, Zaroori Hota for Airtel. And so I started changing the way I was approaching the work. And that, I think, is what these personal kind of stupid quests that I put upon myself, and now I'm trying to figure that and I was a visualist. I didn't know how to deal with the whole chroma and the technical stuff, and then I did the humanist stuff, and now I'm trying to do a mixture of the two. At some point, I would like to deal with fashion very much. So watch out.
I feel you're copying my philosophy of mixing democracy and fascism, which is damn visualist meets humanist.
Except, did you say that there was a cyst somewhere?
These Greek words again, it's mere technicality. Don't worry about that. But let's get back to a couple of questions of being a director on a set. Who's like the worst person to deal with for you? Would it be child actors? Would it be animals? Would it be old actors? Would it be people who are models for years and therefore have a bit of an attitude?
Well,
I remember you were very easygoing, laid back.
From all reports, the worst person to deal with on a set was me.
Yeah, but you were not aggressive or mean like some of other directors were.
I just wanted a certain thing.
Yeah.
And I was a little cussed about getting that kind of thing, and that is really what has kept me going.
Yeah. But 72 takes to do one left look and all, I do remember. It's shattered.
No, I don't do that. No.
I cried.
No, I never ever did that. I never ever did that. But David Fincher does that. I don't do that.
So who's the person you dread if there's anyone like that on a set? And can you tell us some juicy tidbits about any celebrities or models or actors or actresses who misbehaved?
Sorry, I didn't hear that question, Cyrus.
I said I want to hear some juicy tidbits about people who misbehaved on the set.
I think we're having some Wi-Fi connection problem, Cyrus.
Wow, very good, very good. Well done, sir. Well, you don't need a lawyer. You work with all us. Yeah. So, child actors?
No, I love working with kids. I genuinely love working with kids. I think that they're spontaneous, they're informal. Actually, no, Cyrus, I must admit, I know that you would like me to now get into a huge anecdote about I'm not a good anecdote person. I'm just sincere.
How can a leading, if not the leading ad filmmaker of the industry, tell me he's not a good anecdote person? All you'll do is take anecdotes, light them up, and show them. That's what the story is.
I'm just boring. What can I say?
You're boring once you leave the set, is what you're saying. All right. Next time we'll make sure we've given you illegal substances.
I should have remembered some of those stories. Now, there's like pressure. There's too much pressure.
No, don't force it. I hate that. Don't do that. It's cool.
Yeah.
Just let it go.
Okay.
It's just like a Perth wicket. The ball is bouncing. You just let the ball pass. Wait for the ball to come to the bat.
Yeah.
So then, of course, you've been doing ads. It's been 3 decades, I would say. Late 80s.
No, Cyrus, no, please. It's not been 3 decades at all. It's been 10 years, Cyrus.
Okay, fair enough. We'll jot it down as 10 years, whatever you say, sir, my lord. However, you also then decided, as everyone does, that at some point you will make a feature, right?
Yeah.
So it was Neerja the first feature? Is there something before that?
I did a feature which was an English feature with Boman Irani,
which made Boman famous.
Which was called Let's Talk.
Yeah.
Which Shomantro Ghoshal, in fact, was a DOP for. And we produced it ourselves. It was the cost. Amita, my wife, basically, we decided that we would put our own money into it. And my son was growing out of his bed. And we could afford another bedroom or we could put the money into the film. And my wife said, put it into the film, which was very nice of her. And obviously she was, sort of co-producer and owner of it too. But, and also marketing. She helped in the marketing of it. But yes, we made it ourselves. It was a strange process because I didn't want to ever release it. I wanted to just make it for ourselves. There is a quote which Boman really teases me about every time that I speak about the quote, but it's by an Argentinian writer called Jorge Luis Borges, who was asked, why do you write? And he said, for myself, for my friends, and to ease the passage of time. And so it was just time passed. We just went out there. And obviously when Boman said, are we ever going to release it? I said, no, Boman, we're never going to release this. We had our premiere at Boo's house with 7 people, okay? It was a fantastic premiere. And I remember the makeup person saying, in one of the scenes, Maya, who plays the wife, is meant to get beaten up. So he said, sir, kaisa bruise hai? And I told him the whole story of the film. I said, why I wanted to make it, etc., etc. And
now you can tell anecdotes, Ram. Now your anecdotes are flying. What do with the damn film?
Well, and at the end of it, he's looking at me. And then Boman goes to him and he says, समझा कुछ लेकिन एक ही मैं क्वेश्चन पूछ रहा हूँ पिक्चर चलेगी कि नहीं and he said नहीं sir हिट है पिक्चर चलेगी
the makeup man
yes of course all of 6 people saw Let's Talk but that is me again being facetious about that. No, it got us a lot of due. It got us a lot.
You win a lot of awards. I have it here somewhere.
It did. Boman got I think best debut.
Best Barshi and other.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I should be getting an award, right? Because I have Boman. I put Boman up there. I put Jim Sarb up there. I should be getting an award from the Parsi community.
But what happened to Maya?
So Maya actually is in advertising. So, and you know what? She was not ever meant. She didn't want to act. Though she was from RADA. And we tested 50 actresses. And eventually I said to Maya, you're part of the co-writing team. Sanjay Sipahi Malani and Maya started the whole writing. And then Boman came on. And it was a lot of workshopping. And then Maya, actually, I just forced her to come and act. And she was just incredible because she knew the role, because she had co-written it. So, yes, she's there. She's doing advertising and,
So you created Boman in a sense because that really made him famous, or it was a thing that helped him get work. I think that is the start of his career in terms of film.
Well, Boman didn't need to get famous at all because, first of all, he had done, I remember, Gandhi, and he had played in Jesus Christ Superstar, and he was playing and Bajirao. And I remember seeing all of these, and I said, my gosh, just look at this man. He's like incredible. Like one evening he's playing Gandhi, the other evening he's playing Bajirao, the third evening he's playing a gay Herod.
Gay Herod, that's right.
Yeah, can you believe?
That is hilarious, yeah.
Wow. So it was, and I was like, and I asked him to come and act in it, and of course he said no when I first met him in the office. So he said no, and then I actually used I used a curse word which I'm not going to use right now. And
what does it rhyme with?
Sit down, you so and so. Basket.
That's it. Real 80s prodigy.
And I told Boman to sit down. And Boman said, "Oh, okay. I better sit down." And I said, "I don't care. You're doing it. You're saying yes." And I think it was just the fact that I just didn't allow Boman to say no. Otherwise, Boman was going to say no.
Ram, you are a true demo fascist. You're one of us. Democratic Monday, Tuesday fascist. You're one of us. I accept you into my tribe. So you basically bullied him and he did it, yeah.
Do I have to pay anything for that membership?
Oh, yes, you do. It's lockdown. Money's tight. You'll have to. We earn when we can. That's that. But then, Neerja, but that no feature for many years after that. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, it took me 14 years from Let's Talk to before.
That's not Ram.
Anything now. I understand where you're going with that, Cyrus. Thank you very much.
What a reference to context.
Thank you. Yes, I was.
I've been trained.
So from Let's Talk to Neerja, it took 14 years.
14 years, you wandered in the forest, you came back and...
Yeah, I did try lots of, sort of features. They didn't work out. It's a bit like climbing a mountain. Like people pushed me off. I got frostbite. So there was minus 40-degree temperature. All kinds of things happened. I won't get into that because that's a big, long story. However, yes, and then Atul Kasbekar kept calling me for 2 or 3 years and would make me meet people. And, he said, you have to make a film. You have to make a film. And we discussed many subjects. And then one day he called me and he said, what about Neerja? And it was at that time just an idea. I think Sivan, who's a writer along with Sanjita, had written a 7-page kind of thing on it. And I said yes immediately because for the 2-3 years that Casby was calling me, and I'd worked with Casby in an ad actually earlier too. And he basically, Neerja was somebody that we had obviously heard about, because we knew what had happened to her. And Amita, one of my wife's best friends, Ellie, was Neerja's best friend in school. And so we knew about her. So when Casby called me and said, I said yes. And then we went and met Neerja's family in Chandigarh with Sonam, with Sivan, with Casby. And it's then that I said that, okay, this is not just a hijack film. This is a mother-daughter story. This is because when I met Mrs. Bhanot, Neerja's mother, and very, very spirited, sort of strong lady, very, very, the energy was, she genuinely blessed us. And she kept saying, when she came to the shoot, we went and sort of touched her feet and she gave us Ashirwad. And we said, Jeete raho, khush raho. And she kept, sort of to each and every one of us. She wasn't there when the trailer was launched. By then she had passed away. But she certainly came for the shooting. And it was great actually because it was, I think, a subject that I know urban Bombay. I don't want to, even in Arya, therefore it has an urban kind of a, sort of, I don't know so much of, though I come from Barshi and, sort of a small town, but still I don't really know small town UP. I don't know small town Punjab. So I felt that Neerja was a good way I knew the milieu.
Don't know small town Punjab, not to be facetious, but have you been to Mini Punjab, which is a lovely restaurant? Best butter chickens you'll ever get, yeah.
And I have also been to Great Punjab.
Oh man, see, you arrived, Ram. You don't need me now. You've gone from Mini to Great in one sentence. Yeah. So Neerja, the feature, and then so now you've done everything, right? So what's next for Ram? Because that's also been a few years now.
Well, I want to make a comedy, quite honestly, Cyrus. That's the next thing that I want to do. A feature film, and I want to make I've made people cry now in Neerja. I want to now make people laugh. And I think the time has come for us to have something which we can get out there and, sort of be positive and spread some sunshine and, sort of just generally, sort of, have Yes.
I've got a solution here because see, Let's Talk, your one magnum opus gave Boman Irani sort of a lifeline. Second one gave Jim Sar plays the villain, so he then gets into the movies and becomes a name. So for this comedy, why don't you? I have a son, Mikhail, come here. What about make it 3 out of 3? He's had his Navjot, so 3 out of 3. You'll be
just when I was going to offer it to you.
You said young people. I have to play the father's older friend. Something like that. Anyway, listen, Ram, we're running out of time because you've gone on and on about your stories, and I didn't want to interrupt you because you're a wise old sage. And every story took half an hour. And I just sat quietly, fingers crossed, hoping it would end. But it's been delightful listening to you. We do have a bit here called the AMAs, where we just take in questions which come in to us. And they have no relevance to your life, but would you be happy to answer them?
Yes, I would be very happy. I'll duck most of it, as you have seen.
Yeah. Our answers make no sense and are never verified.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another awesome week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you aren't following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Been a really fun week on the network. Please do definitely check out all the regular shows that you do. But in addition, let me give you a few recommendations. On Agla Station Adulthood, Ritasha and Ayushi talk siblings. Really fun episode. I think you'll enjoy that. Nishad Pai Vaidya is on Cyrus, and they discuss cricket and a lot of different things around cricket. I think you'll enjoy that as well. Old friend Parmesh Shahani, he was on Absolutely Right. Definitely do check that out. Tamal Mills was on Edges and Sledges, another episode which I've heard really good things about. I haven't heard it yet. I need to listen to that soon. And guys, Uncle Please Sit. Definitely listen to that. They've been killing it. This week they have Abby Phillips. He's a doctor talking about medical misinformation. Last week, Paramita Vora was talking about sex education and who needs it. They've been really killing it. Definitely do check that out. And with that, let me get you back to your show.
Follow me at Instagram and Twitter on Bored Brocha. I'm so bored, I need your help. I need your love. I need your touch. Okay, just follow me. This young man, Silvery with the beard, who's just woken up. This is the Silvery, you're 23, right?
I'm 28.
You're 28?
But thanks.
5 years in lockdown, huh?
He looks
Sir, before we get into this, I want to say a couple of things that we have in common. I also studied in a boarding school in Panchgani. I was in Sanjeevan Vidyalaya, right next to St. Peter's.
Yes.
I don't know if you're aware of the school.
That's quite incredible. Of course, I'm aware of the school. And
St. Peter's used to beat you up.
It's one of Panchgani's top schools.
Correct, yeah. The story goes that when Tare Zameen Par ka shooting was happening, they first approached our school because they didn't want to approach New Era first. And our school said no, saying that no, our students' studies will suffer. And apparently so they went to New Era after that. And that year, New Era had some record-breaking failures or something because even the teachers used to be like, acha, free period, let's go all watch Amir Khan shoot for Tare Zameen Par. So
well, I was asked to do a song for Tare Zameen Par.
Wow.
So I went there for the shooting. Amir was running out of time, so therefore for 4 days he was going over schedule. So he said, "Come and shoot a song." So I directed the song Beja Kam, which is got the dyslexia song with the kid, where the alphabets are insects and sort of creepy crawlies. So I was there in that school while the shoot happened. So for me, it was a big thing actually to go back to Panchgani, to be actually invited by Amir to be shooting a song for his film.
Ram, did you shoot bits of Mission Kashmir as well?
Yes, I was associate director on that, and I helped Vidhu on the climax sequence and on Ritik's intro. So yes, I was there as part of that too.
So thanks to this podcast, the world will know, because you've not been given enough credit for all those other pieces of work, because they're hidden inside the bibliography of other filmmakers and artists. But we will expose.
But there was a question coming my way.
Yeah.
There you go.
Sir, one more thing I have in common with you is my mother's name literally is Neerja. Not even making this up.
Can you believe?
So, what are the odds? What are the odds?
6 degrees of separation.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Ram, I have nothing in common with you. I'm so sad.
Except Elvis Presley.
Except Elvis, yeah. Well,
okay.
And Bob Dylan. I like Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan.
That's a great lead into our first question.
Right.
The first question comes in from Rishi Deshmukh. He says, "Good morning, Cyrus and guest.
Good morning.
Cyrus, I know you're a huge fan of the Beatles. Sir, are you also a Beatles fan?"
Oh, who isn't?
Who isn't? Correct. Cyrus, I know you're a huge fan of the Beatles. Did you know that the Beatles were supposed to have a fifth member, but then let go of him? The story goes...
Stu Sutcliffe, the drummer. There were two drummers with Pete Best before
Best, correct. Oh, you know this, yeah. The story goes... He goes on to say, the story goes, a musician named Pete Best was a member of the band. He used to play the drums. But then they let go of him and got Ringo Starr on the drums instead.
Yeah, and he was supposed to be the good-looking one and all that initially when
correct. Yeah.
Because these four Liverpudlians look like nothing, at least at that point. Of course, what they left behind is another story, and nobody remembers Pete Best except stupid guys who give us questions like this. Yeah. Now, George Best, that's the best you should remember. One of the greatest footballers of all time. Silvery, what about that? What a drunkard he was. These are my real heroes. Huh.
Okay, so he says, imagine Pete Best's shock and regret when they reached the levels of fame they did. I kind of feel bad for him. What do you think about this, firstly? Do you think it's actually true or just an urban myth of sorts?
No, it's all true. It's all true. How do you know who's going to succeed in life, man? You can't blame the guy. There's a bunch of boys trying to play music. There's no way you're going to tell that they're going to be the greatest band ever. I think that's a bit harsh. Ram, anything happened to you like that? Did you ever regret anything? See something go really out of your hand and became the biggest thing ever?
Yes.
I could have married Priyanka Chopra, for example. We were this close. I don't have any brothers.
Cyrus, I've just let go of you being in my next movie because you said no.
No, I said put the son in. Nepotism. It's all part of the subcontinent politics. Anyway.
And he completes his question going, lastly, have you guys ever tried to be a part of a band, maybe in your college days or so? What was that like?
No, because the only organ I play is the one I can't mention. And the second thing is we did a lot of theatre and a lot of singing. So I've sung so much, choruses and choirs and parties and events.
Cyrus, come on. Let's get your version of whatever, "O Come All Ye Faithful" or one of them. Come on, Cyrus. Come on, let's sing.
Oh, little town of Bethlehem, how still we see thee lie. Amongst thy deep and dreamless sleep, the silent stars go by.
Too good.
The king, Ram, tribute to the king. Once you hear the king, you can't hear anybody else. It's just
exactly.
You should shoot the other singers. How dare you? Bang! If your Arnab was in charge and he loved Elvis, it would be such a lovely world. The panelists will all be killed. Sorry. Where were we, young man?
Okay. The first question is done. I'll go on to the next one. This comes in from Rahul Pandit. So sorry, were you ever part of a band, Ram sir?
No, only air guitar and air drums in school.
Ram, you got that Freddie Mercury hangover. So didn't you guys have?
No, it was just no. I tried to sort of learn the flute, learn the guitar, learn the piano, and I wish I could. My son is a music director, and therefore he is somebody who is a struggling music director right now, obviously. But he did do he was part of the music for Neerja and for Arya. He was co-producer of music on Arya along with Vishal Khurana's music director. But so yes, my son is there, and therefore there is some influence. And he loves Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young. He loves Neil Young, and he is listening to music of that generation.
So he's slightly ahead of you. If you go from 57 to 62, he's 63 to 71. That's good to know. That's good to know. Yeah. All right. We should have asked you about how you and Amita met, actually. I know that she worked in the same thing in Equinox and all that. But was there a love story there that you...
There is, and it still continues. And yes, that is a love story. That is something which is...
just one question. Who fell for whom first?
I'm just going to say that I fell for her.
You beauty, as the Australians say. You beauty, Ram. Really. Well played. With a straight bat. Silvery, next one.
All right. The next one comes in from Rahul Pandit. He says, hi, Cyrus and guest. I'm an aspiring filmmaker, currently studying in film school. We, the students of the school, have been wondering about the state of production and shoots going forward after COVID, or even during it, in case it continues endlessly. What changes have you guys already seen / implemented at your own shoots already? And how do you guys see the industry changing in the coming years because of this?
So you sourced the question that makes sense for Ram. Well done, Silvery. Good stuff.
He composed it himself.
Yeah. No.
He said, all these questions are for Cyrus. I better have one question for Ram.
Yeah. There's no way on earth somebody will send that to me, as advice during COVID. What's going on? Tell us, oh, great master, how to cope. Yeah. So, Ram,
I've done a couple of commercials during lockdown. I did some commercials for Spotify, like 2-3 weeks ago. And everybody was on Zoom calls. I'm perfectly okay with that. It's like this, right? I mean, as long as you're sort of fine, sort of making it believe that we are actually there, and we can feel that you're actually there. Anybody who says that technology does not give you that energy is wrong, because Cyrus is doing it every time in any case.
But you haven't gone on the floor, Ram?
No, but I will be now. On the 21st, I go for a recce 2 hours away from Bombay, and I'm shooting 25th, 26th. So we will be shooting with a minimal crew. Shootings have started. At Equinox, we'll be shooting in a studio with one of our other directors, with Manoj, our producer, next week. So yes, shootings have started. Yes, there is everything that, all the normal safety protocols. And now we have something called health auditors, which is, people who will make sure that there is social distancing and all the rest of that. So
unless they get COVID, because that's an irony. It's happened a couple of times, yeah.
Yes. So
the doctor becomes the patient.
We're taking these steps. It is something which we're going to all have to co-live, and we're going to have to take these steps just to see how we can manage.
Yeah, well, so, I would like to answer that also in my limited capacity, Silvery, which is that I learned a lot from my mentor, Rocco Siffredi, arguably the greatest pornographer of all time. And he has worked with a minimal crew for his entire body of work, no pun intended, which is like, there's 3 people on set, unless it's a group scene and then those actors are more. But otherwise, it can be done. Less is more. Like Pearl Padamsi used to tell us in the theater, less can be more. There's no doubt about that. So I'm very convinced that, as Ram said, you just have to keep going. Things will happen. You just work with what you got. Rightio. Great guys. Now I'm bored of this conversation. Ram, you were fantastic. Silvery, thanks for being there. I think he's quite starstruck by
you made the conversation interesting as always. I'm just a boring person. But you did well, Cyrus. Thank you.
I was writing something for a newspaper on the side while this was going on. I hope I'll do a spell check now. But Ram, no, jokes apart, great stuff. Nice to hear from you. Next time if we get you on, we'll get you to talk about other things. I think you'll be more happy talking about anything but yourself. But this was fun. This was fun. All right, guys. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, catch us on any of the podcasting apps, please. We beg you, we need you. Send us your questions on Twitter on Cyrus Says In. Or you can email us, even if you're not female, on whatcyrussays@gmail.com.
Janice, what do you think couples did before TV was invented?
I don't know, go for walks on the beach, long drives, fancy dinners, have more sex maybe?
But what did we do when we decided to move in together? We debated between the Chromecast and the Fire Stick.
We gave up on sleeping early so we could stay up watching true crime shows.
We got ourselves 3 cat babies.
And basically became the cutest couch potatoes around.
Okay then.
In case you guys still haven't got it, we are a TV crazy, Netflix loving, binge watching Mr. and Mrs.
I'm Anirudh Guha.
I'm Janice Sequeira.
And if like us you snort TV for breakfast, lunch and dinner, this is the podcast for you.
Tune in every Thursday on the IVM podcast app or wherever it is that you get your podcast from. This is
Mr.
and Mrs.
Binge Watch.
नमस्ते, मैं हूँ सौरभ चंद्रा
और मैं प्रणय कोटस्ताने।
जब महफिल खत्म होते होते दरवाजे के बाहर पुलिया के ऊपर हम दुनिया भर की जटिल समस्याओं को सॉल्व करने में लग जाते हैं तो हो जाती है पुलियाबाजी।
अब आजकल के अपार्टमेंट वालों ने तो कभी पुलिया देखी नहीं होगी, पर आप फीलिंग तो समझ ही सकते हैं।
तो आइए शामिल हो जाइए हमारी पुलियाबाजी में, जहां प्रणय और मैं एक से एक इंटरेस्टिंग टॉपिक्स की तह तक जाएंगे।
आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस, बिटकॉइन, पाकिस्तान, मेडिकल एजुकेशन, करेंसी क्राइसिस, कभी हम दोनों के साथ और अक्सर स्पेशल एक्सपर्ट गेस्ट की कंपनी में।
सुनिए हमें IVM की वेबसाइट, ऐप या अपने फेवरेट पॉडकास्टिंग प्लेटफॉर्म पर हर दूसरे हफ्ते।